Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are checking out AmaLee once more with her original song Call Me King. Now, I'm pretty excited about this. I figured this would be a good choice considering her VTuber name is Monarch. So I think Call Me King should give me a pretty good idea of what image she holds as her VTuber persona. So let's just jump into things in 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, okay. All right.
I wasted years, gave you my life, and I think that's the biggest crime.
Okay.
Forever, but my trust in you was severed when you left my faith to die. Nothing quite inspires like a broken heart. Glad you really hit me hard.
Okay, so we're getting these very unique bass supports for the vocal. I actually really like the way the bass is matching her on those low notes there. But let's go back a bit. I actually really like that treble synth. Generally, this style of music maybe isn't the most my most preferred style. This is more like very more pop centric, but it's still fun to listen to, and so I'm liking how she's pulling this off.
Broken heart. Glad you really hit me hard. You said forever, yeah, my sanity was severed, and now I'm the new monarch.
All right.
It's not quite how we rehearsed,
Ooh.
but I wanna hear it from you first. From you first. Call me king.
Okay.
I don't need anything from you now. I can. So call me.
Okay, so we're getting pretty creative with these vocal layerings. We're getting multiple vocal tracks, just piecing them together. We've got some choral elements, we've got some really high treble elements that are a bit delayed. We're getting pretty creative here, and also we mixed quite a bit with the EQ work. Adding variation without changing up what we're doing with the tracks too much. Having the same tracks, but just shifting the low cut, the high cut to manipulate how we're communicating the same set of notes. That was a fun EQ shift there while having the vocal lift as well. So we're still having that vocal change, but it's just the instrumentation has an EQ shift as opposed to an actual instrumentation switch up, which was nice. I like that choice.
I wanna hear
Right here.
from you first.
You can still hear that melody in the instrumentation here.
Call me king.
And then we have an impact and bring it in. I will say I do really wish that these choral interjection, not really interjections, just these choral this choral vocal track that we're getting with the that probably sounded awful what I just did, but you get the idea. That vocal track there, or maybe multiple vocal tracks, but just that choral projection there. I wish that was lower in the mix than the actual lyrical vocal track, because the lyrical vocal track without the lyrics on the screen would be almost a little bit difficult to grasp onto. Oh. Nice.
Nah, fuck it.
Big switch up. Okay. Nice. Okay, so we're bringing in the synth bass to kind of match where her vocal left off. So we're dropping way down low with the vocal after the cutout. Well, I suppose during the cutout. And then we're using that vocal tone to set a new mark for the synth bass to follow. So it's a nice consistency. So far this entire song, I could describe it in one word. It would be consistency, because it's always settling on this area where it feels almost like cloudy, mystical, not really mystical, but just cloudy, like we're we've got like this cloud of just music, and we're focused on this one track, right? We're going down this one track, and then we have the switch up here, and now we're shifting down, but we still have this cloud of music. And I feel that's a general aesthetic that comes with very synth heavy tracks, digital drums, synth basses, using a synth for most of your instrumentation, and then only really using vocal tracks almost as instrumental tracks to accompany them. I think that's a very solidified pattern you hear in a lot of music. So it seems that AmaLee is really going for that, and it seems that she kind of likes that, because when we heard her with the villain vibes before, it seemed like we were also very synth centric, really, really focusing on those synth tracks, those digital drums, and keeping the consistency, not doing a crazy amount of variation, which isn't bad. That's not bad at all. It's just a different style of music and a different aesthetic. Going back to that first melody. Oh, okay. Okay, so now we've got this digital effect on the backing vocal here. If you hear that, the backing vocal is under the main vocal, but it's got this digital effect that almost makes it sound like a synth bass almost. Actually, let me go back there, because I feel like I might have misheard a bit of that, because that backing vocal there, it's very subtle. So I want to go back to make sure I'm not mishearing what exactly they did to it. Okay, I'm sorry. I do not think there was too much digital effect in terms of pitch lowering on that backing vocal there. I think it was just a bit of loud synth bass, and then the backing vocal had a lot of echo and reverb on it. So we had the synth bass coming up in the mix to fill in for those tones, and that were basically being left empty by the emphasized reverb and echo that we were getting from the backing vocal. So it wasn't that the backing vocal itself had all those effects on it, but rather we were how do I say this? We were supplementing what the effects on the backing vocal were doing with the instrumentation, if that makes sense. So we're using the synth bass to supplement what we're leaving empty from the effects we're putting on the backing vocal. So that's good attention to the mix. That's a very good thing. Yeah, that's something you really like to hear, especially an original song, because it tells you that even with the consistency and the sustained melodies that we're getting in the song that might make it seem repetitive, we're still getting good attention to detail, which is always a positive.
It's not quite how we rehearsed.
Ooh, nice. Very breathy. I really like the projection on that. Ooh, okay, we went up this time. Nice, okay. All right. Ooh, nice. Nice. That's a really good headpiece. Okay. Okay. A lot of vocal rasp here. Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you here. I don't think that was the best ending. I'm gonna be real with you. After having that very big projection and just really focusing on what she can do with her voice, I don't think going into that like rap-esque breakdown was the best choice for an ending. Maybe for an interjection. If we had that first segment, we had that little rap breakdown, and then we had that last segment with the big projection on the Call Me King, that would have been great. I think that would have been fine. But ending on the rap breakdown after having like no real setup for it, and then just letting that be the conclusion to the song, I don't think that was the right call. But hey, it's all preference. I will say, on the mix for that Call Me King, we had a lot of amazing vocal work there. I mean, the vocals were incredible. It's just I feel that for like the mix wasn't focusing on them. Like the mix was focusing on the the choral vocal that was accompanying the chorus. So the accompanying vocal was way higher in the mix than any other vocal track. The open tone like sustains, those were really high in the mix, but the actual like lyrical vocal tracks were way lower than I thought they should be. I think those two volume levels should be swapped. Those volume levels for the lyrical vocal tracks and the choral vocal tracks, I think those should be swapped, because there was some incredible vocal work there, and it was like they were trying to push it down and then telling it to get down in the mix. I was like, why? Just let it show off. Bring those up in the mix. Those are incredible. But yeah, I really, really like the vocal work we're getting from AmaLee here. And she has an amazing voice. I feel like the mix for her songs isn't playing to her strengths as a vocalist. I feel like the musical aspects and like the instrumentation isn't that bad, but it's just the mix really, I feel, isn't helping the vocal when it very easily, I feel, it could. So yeah, I really like AmaLee's voice. I really want to hear more of it. Maybe I might try to take a look at her live singing if she has any videos of her live singing or something. I don't know if I'll do that on camera or not, but I might just try to take a look at that to see if I can get a more just a better grasp on how she sings and her voice, because I feel like, disappointingly, I feel like her songs don't show that off. I feel like her songs aren't showing off the incredible voice she has. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Feel free to let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm interested to hear how you guys feel about the mix for this, and because it's very possible that this might just be a first impression. Then maybe I'll listen to this again and I might feel differently about it as I get more used to it, or I notice things the mix did that I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense why they did that. So feel free to let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Aside from that, I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.